Hello and welcome to a new video for Age of Imperialism. Today we'll be doing our first gameplay video of the mod, featuring it completely in its entirety as a brand new mod, fully, without any missing feature. As you might not know, or might have known, I released the Android version like yesterday, so now you can play both on PC and on Android in its entirety without fearing that something won't work for a crash version or whatever like that. So now we can already start and play fully. So today we will be playing a nation that many people have requested for me to just make you see how you can play it in its best, and that will be the nation of the Austrian Empire. See, the Austrian Empire has a lot of events for the main scenario. We will be playing, of course, 1815, the Congress of Vienna, which is the main scenario. Remember, when you play the scenario, put the aggressiveness at 0%. You don't want for the scenario to get rough and ruin itself with the aggressiveness features. I'll put Terra Incognita at Classic, because I want to see the rest of the world while I'm playing. And of course, AI aggressiveness at 0%, also diminished the volume. And now we can start playing. Alright, so let's see how this goes. As you can see, we have our interaction. First thing we can see is that the Austrian Empire has many different ethnicities, so it's not a cohesive state. We have the Lombard Venetians, which are Italians. When we have the Hungarians, of course, we have the Galicians and the Lodomerians, which is Polish and Ukrainian people living in this area here. Then we have the Transylvanians, which are the people living here. Then we have even the Croats and the Slavonians, which are basically just Croats and a couple of Serbs, which are in this area. And then we have many other minor ethnicity like the Carniolans, which are Slovenians here, and the Bukovinians, which are another type of Romanians, you could say. Anyways, this will be a gameplay video and it will be split in multiple parts, I suppose, because Austria is a very long nation. It goes all the way up to 1870, their events. So to best really show it, we have to complete it. Okay, so as we start our first turn, we'll have 1815, Austria. The Austrian Emperor, once the absolute leader of the Holy Roman Empire and the greatest power in the continental Europe, has exited the Napoleonic Wars victorious, yet in a sense greatly defeated. Our sense of superiority has been outshined by the British Navy and the French army. Our Emperor has shown that he isn't good as his mother, and our almost monarchy has come out of our almost absolute monarchy has come out as highly unpopular to the Empire's population. We aren't in the best of positions, yet we can still hope in the glory of the Austrian eagle. Austria est imperare orbe universo. So, as you can see, this is the starting event for Austria, the introduction to our nation. If you don't know who the mother of the current Austrian Emperor Francis II is, we are referring to beloved Maria Theresa of Austria. She was a great reformer. So we can choose how the mod works or the Austrian objectives. Just to explain, we'll go to how the mod works. I'm not going to explain this. I'll let you read it, just so you know what we are doing. Okay, now we're gonna go back to the objectives and see what the first objective for Austria is. Agriculture is for sure one of the most important factors for a nation like ours. The Napoleonic Wars have killed a lot of farmers and destroyed a lot of farms. The French pillaged our crop lands to get grain for their armies. Now it's time to rebuild them and make our agriculture sector stronger than before and stronger than everyone else's. Let's get great rebuilding of farms start. So we have to rebuild the agricultural infrastructure. To complete this objective, we will have to build farms in the provinces highlighted on this map. So as you can see, we have quite a couple provinces that we have to build farms in, but I don't think it's our job too hard since we have 3 years to have that. We'll probably finish in a couple days, honestly. Let's already start, so we don't forget anything. We'll build one in Rezo, one in Kast. We'll build one in Horn. We'll build one in Nitra. And wait, we don't actually have the money yet. So let's just remember, one in Nitra, one in that province there, one in that province here, and two in these two. I think this should do. Let's go with got it, and then let's wait for the couple turns so we get the money. Now that we have the money, we'll start building again and see where that brings us. Let's make the Hungarian Pannonian Basin as farmable as possible so it can increase our population. So now we should be able to have all the built farms we needed for the completion of our objective, which will help us industrialize later. We have a new random objective. These objectives aren't really customized, they are random for all nations. Yeah, I did have to add them in one by one, but they still are somewhat random. One of the men in our court has commissioned a scientist to research a new technology to improve the daily lives of the citizens. Luckily, this has worked. Now we can choose whether to use this discovery to our benefit or let it go and not invest in it. Invest in the new idea and gain some technological advantage. We will do it. We will lose some money and gain some tech points, which we will use for our income production. Remember, AOI, which is Age of Imperialism, is a mod that much bases itself on the concept of economy and industrialization. So having something like that, an increased production is fundamental to the development of the mod. We have another event. I'm not gonna read the events that are like random, like this one. I'm just gonna read the ones that are focused on the Austrian Empire. So this just leaves us with less money. It'll loosen up our treasury. Get an event for trade, which gives us like a bit of cash. So as you can see, if I put the stability map, you can see that both the Ottoman Empire, us, and somewhat France too, have a lot of minorities in their country, so we'll have to figure that out. We need to centralize Austria as much as we can. The Ottomans are already doing that. They have a big Greek minority, big Bulgarian minority. These provinces are majority Bulgaria, these provinces are majority Greek, etc, etc. Okay, so this is the first actual historical event for Austria, without objectives and stuff like that. Re-establishing our presence. The Austrian Empire is passing these first years of peace after the tremendous Napoleonic Wars by trying to rebuild its empire and its power in Europe. A great way to do this is by starting some embassies in other European nations, to achieve a cordial level of diplomacy between our countries and to ensure peace in our time. Let's fund these new embassies in all Germanic states. Let's fund these embassies in all European great powers. So of course the most costly option is for the one for all European great powers, but it will improve our relations significantly with the big powers, or we can just focus on Germany. So as you can see right now, we have like moderate relations with most countries, but I don't think we need the better opinion of the European monarchies, so we'll just fund some opinion in the Germanic states and lose less cash. You can see the opinion has improved. All states now have plus 15 opinion and more, so that's a great thing for us. We got another failed trade. We're losing a lot of cash, but that's okay, that's not a problem. We're gonna be building that back once the objective is finished. Got another interesting discovery, and we have our objective successful. We've managed to gain a solid agriculture base in our country. After reconstructions were implemented for the post-Napoleonic barren lands, we hope that in the future we will be able to sustain our population and that we'll never have to feel the humiliation we felt when being beaten by the French. The population will be able to successfully sustain its growth. So we gain more happiness for the entire country. that is pretty important since we just have 76%. And most importantly, we gain a population boost in all the provinces we have been building farms in of 40%, which is enormous if you see. So if you see now the population of like one province we built farm in, it's 23,891, so it's just 23,000. But now that we click the event, it goes to 33,000, which is a big boost, which will improve our economy. Next, let's see the successful objective and the one that is to do now for 1818 and 1821. The Austrian Empire has won the Napoleonic Wars with great cost. We didn't win alone against the French aggressors, so it's time to improve relations with our old allies and friends to stay strong within the newly formed concert of Europe. So here we can choose whether which of the two we want to improve relations with, and I think we will improve relations with the Russians, because I don't think the Ottomans are pre-built to invade us. Also, the Ottomans have better relations with us than the Russians, so it's better to improve with the Russians. Depending on what option you picked, you will have to choose either Russia or the Ottomans and bring the European view up to 30. So we got 3 years to improve its opinion to 30. And that is exactly what we'll do. And another interesting discovery, loss of cash plus income production, and we continue with the improvement for Russia. We have a new event for the Holy Alliance. The Russian Tsardom has invited us and the Prussians to a pact called the Holy Alliance. The purpose of this alliance is to denounce and suppress all democratic and liberal movements in Europe, to save and maintain absolutist dominion across Europe. It's also a good opportunity to seek closer ties to the Russian Tsardom. We accept the offer, refuse it. Of course, refusing it would mean worse relations with the Austrians, the Russians, and since we're doing the objective, we really can't afford to refuse the option, plus giving us 2 allies, or 1, depending on whether Prussia decides to join, is a great starter for what will become the revolutions of 1848, where we will definitely need some help if they decide to help us. So we'll accept the offer and enter the alliance with the Russians. Apparently Prussia is not gonna join us, so that's a shame, but we will do without them. We don't need the Prussians too. We have the mining accidents. We'll just fund reopening a secure mine, so lose some cash but gain economy and happiness. Let's see how our improvement of Russia is going. We'll send a gift to the Russians so that their thing is better. Sending gifts to nations is a great way to improve the relations faster, as far as I know. I wish they made it so that giving free trades to them was too, but I guess we'll not have that. Updates the game, which is basically impossible. So, objective incomplete. Unfortunately, we have not been able to improve the relations as we wanted, which is a shame, but I think I understand why. We should have started way earlier. Instead, we started just when the events happened. Anyways, the objective incomplete. We have not been able to get the level of diplomatic relation we expect from our missions to the other great powers. We must accept that we cannot count on foreigners for the assurance of peace for our empire. A true diplomatic embarrassment. And we even lose some economy in Vienna, which is really not ideal. And now it's 16,000. Okay, so this is an important objective. Austrian Empire is a diverse state with many different peoples living within its border. There are Germans, Magyars, Slovaks, Italians, Czechs, Croatians, Serbs, Romanians, Ukrainians, Russians, Russians, Poles, Slovenes. Since the spread of the revolutionary ideals, the Napoleonic Wars have swept Europe with unification movements that have now matured into the first forms of nationalism. If we leave this situation untouched, we could perish under the division brought by nationalists. We have to make our people feel like one group. Multiculturalism in the Austrian Empire. To complete this objective, we must assimilate the most important cities of our non-Germanic speaking lands, such as Budapest, Zagreb, Lviv, and Prague. So we'll just go with got it and start assimilating these lands. So let's start with Lviv, which is right here. Let's start assimilating it. Then we will assimilate Prague. Then we will assimilate Budapest, And I suppose one other important one would be Timisoara, I suppose. Let's see who else needs to be. I guess Bratislava and Ljubljana, and maybe even Zagreb. Yeah. And I'll do the extra step and even assimilate Venice here. Maybe Milan. Yeah. I know these will be lost eventually, but I think it's better for now to just keep the situation under control. And since we are already in assimilating these lands, I'll just automatically assimilate all the other ones, so we can just gain more money. Also failed trade. See, this is why we need more money. We'll just get failed trade events. It's also important for the assimilation of the non-Hungarians, because while the Hungarians are rebellious, these people out here aren't rebellious normally. So if we got them all happy and assimilated, we shouldn't have problems with them in the future. We got a nexus question from the Greek Republic, which is currently they had actually just won their independence war against the Ottoman Empire, which is great to see. We have a new European nation, a revolutionary republic. In the meanwhile, let's check on what's happening in the rest of the world. We can see that the Argentines have united within itself, the Chileans have gained their independence, the first Mexican empire has been born, plus the Colombian condominium has been established between the United States and the British. And then we have an independent Republic of New Granada, which is another revolutionary republic. So we have two revolutionary republics here. For the rest, it seems the world is pretty calm, maybe no major wars. Well, the Maoris have been eliminated, I suppose, but that's not really something that has anything to do with us. So we'll just go further. And since we want good relations with the Hellenic Republic, we'll accept their military access question. And let's continue to integrate the territories of the Austrian Empire. A bit at a time, but it's important to just get it right. So finally, the objective has been completed. Our efforts in re-establishing a sense of union between our people have succeeded. The threat of nationalism, at least for now, has been quelled. We are all, first of all, Austrian. United as one for now. So we gain a lot of happiness, which is very important. Over 30%, which makes us a fully happy country or something like that, at least in those provinces. Austria, okay, so new objective. Austria plays an important role in culture and music. Musicians like Mozart and Haydn went into the history books of music. Still, our country isn't just as famous and important for music. The architecture of our beautiful cities are admired by the entirety of Europe. We have to make sure that our cultural influence over Europe remains constant. Austrian culture will be seen as superior by the entire world. So to gain this objective, we have to fulfill this objective by bringing to 0.55 development at least, so that's doable, the development of all the provinces highlighted in the map. So mainly Austrian majority provinces plus some capitals. So we have Zagreb. We'll start by the capitals of other ethnicities. So we'll improve development in Zagreb, in Budapest, Bratislava, Prague, and then we can start with the Austrian majority provinces. So Vienna, what is this? Liesen, Amstetten, this province here, Graz, and to be sure we also improve it to in Horn and in Estenstad, which is Burgenland. I think this works. We'll wait for it to pass. Another disaster, damn it. So let's check from the diplomacy to the map modes tab. In the development one, if they all reached 0.55. Oh, nope. Prague needs some more. Let's see, 55, 55. Okay, Horn needs some more too. Bratislava is okay, Budapest is okay, Zagreb is okay, these guys are okay too. I think this works perfectly. To just be sure once more, we'll also improve diplomatic I mean development in Lviv, which is another like ethnicity capital, and Timisoara, even if it's not needed. Now we have a little cash, but it's not a problem since we have many time. Also, we have rebellions in France apparently. Unnecessary discovery. Okay, never mind. Let's just get this over with. Okay, so interesting things in the rest of the world. We have the Portuguese, which are now at war with the Brazilians, which have declared their independence. So now we have an independent Brazil, which is at war with the Portuguese. Both of these nations are industrialized. Or I mean, not industrialized. Nobody's industrialized yet. Meanwhile, the Peruvians and Bolivians are going for the wars of independence. It appears the Peruvians are winning while the Bolivians are harshly losing, so Spain might be able to maintain their connection to South America somewhat, while Portugal is just independent. And I want to see how this revolution in France goes. Well, it's already gone. Meanwhile, Brazil has won their independence from Portugal, which is now at peace with them. And we can see that both Peru and Bolivia actually managed to gain their independence, so South America is now completely free of Spanish influence. Plus, a new war has started between the Brazilians, Argentinians, and Uruguayans, which is the Cisplatinum War. We'll maybe cover it in an episode dedicated to Brazil, but I doubt it for the meantime, maybe later. Okay, we fulfilled our objective. Austrian influence is triumphant over the European continent, our music is played in the royal courts of Prussia, Russia and France, our language is spoken as lingua franca in Italy and the Balkans, and our architecture is envied by the monarchs of the entire world. We are an example for all of Europe. We gain some technology and a lot of money and some happiness, which is great. Our stability has risen up a lot since the start. Now we are the absolute majority in the empire, even if this doesn't mean we are a majority Austrian nation, it just means that many people have been assimilated into the Austrian empire culture. Austrian objectives 1818, 1828, 1830. All the lost battles in the Napoleonic Wars have shown us that we have an unprepared and untrained army. We should train our men and even better prepare them for all kinds of scenarios. We have to teach them how to use all kinds of weapons. We will have the greatest and professional army of Europe, and our diversity will not stop us. The Austrian Empire will become the best army in Europe, or so we hope. Reforming the army. This objective has to be completed by having, by 1840, 100,000 troops. So we just have to gain some troops, that's it. We also lost our alliance status with the Russians because they will be going at war, and I'm noticing that the French are having quite a couple problems with the rebellions. I think that is because their king has not managed to complete any of their objectives, which is quite a shame. Meanwhile, let's just gain the productions, so we have maxed out production, and let's start with the economic taxation. And since we are all well put, we'll gain some money and then start building our massive army, which we will already put on the borders of our nation. Okay, important event for whoever is playing Austria. While we don't have to intervene, we still have to notice that the Russians have started their war against the Ottomans. This is the Turkish or like Russo-Turkish War of 1828, and yeah, they have started. It appears it already ended though, because the Ottomans already won the war. That was fast, because they already sprinted all into action and gained Odessa and some other provinces. The Russians were just not capable of defending their border very well, but it's good that the war is already over. We don't need big wars. Plus, since the French are going into rebellion quite fast, we'll need to give them some gold so they can help themselves out, hopefully, and don't actually suffer from the breakout states that could ruin the rest of the campaign for us. Okay, we got another powerful speech, so more troops, which is great since it helps us complete our objective. And now I think it's time to start building troops ourselves. So we'll build some in Italy, so at the border with Sardinia, Piedmont, Parma and the Papal States. Then we will start building some on the border with Russia, in Galicia, Lodomeria. So our main army here of over, like this army alone is 100,000 men, which is great. And we'll just let it stay in Vienna itself. And there we go, the objective has been completed. The reforms applied to our army have been a complete success. Our army is seen with fear by our neighbors. They know that we can beat them at any time, and our strong manpower can sustain any time of prolonged war. The simple word Austria now gives shares to our enemies. And finally, here goes our first period. So the first period of the mods, the objective period, or as I call it, the post-Congress period, so the Congress of Vienna, has ended because now it's the start of the Industrial Revolution.